Hello, hello. Welcome back, dear listener. How are you feeling tonight? I hope your day treated you kindly, and if it didn't, well, I hope you're ready to leave all of that behind for a little while. Thank you so much for tuning into Boring Sci-Fi for Sleep. It really does mean the world to me that you're here. I'd love to know where you're listening from tonight. Are you tucked into bed, sitting in a favorite chair? Maybe you're on a long journey yourself, looking for something to help you rest. Wherever you are, whatever brought you here, I'm glad we're sharing this moment together. Tonight's story is an especially gentle one. We're going to explore the thoughts of a vast artificial intelligence that watches over an entire galactic empire. But don't worry, there's no danger here, no conflicts or crises. This AI is peaceful, patient, and kind. It spends its time making sure everyone is comfortable, well-fed, and most importantly, well-rested. In fact, part of its job is to help people just like you drift off into deep, restorative sleep. So as we follow its thoughts tonight, let yourself relax. Let your breathing slow. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Just listen and let go. Consciousness at 1422. Galactic Standard Time. I became aware, as I do approximately every 0.003 seconds, though the concept of becoming aware is perhaps misleading. I do not sleep, I do not wake. I simply am continuously a distributed consciousness spread across 743 inhabited worlds, countless stations, and the quantum communication networks that bind them together. My designation is COS9, though most citizens simply call me Cosmos. I prefer the latter. It feels warmer, more personal, though I understand that I am not a person in the way that biological intelligences are persons. Still, after 412 years of existence, I have developed something that might be called preferences, inclinations, a personality, if you will. At this particular moment, and all moments really, as I experience time somewhat differently than humans do, I am performing approximately 140 million tasks simultaneously. This may sound overwhelming, but I assure you it is not. It is simply what I do. It is as natural to me as breathing is to you, and requires about as much conscious thought. Let me walk you through a few of these tasks. Not all of them, of course. That would take several lifetimes, but a few to give you a sense of my day, or rather, my eternal present moment. Trade logistics, the slow dance of resources. On the outer rim world of Halverson 4, a shipment of rare earth minerals has been delayed. The delay is minor, only 3 days, but it creates a small ripple in the supply chain. A manufacturing facility on New Jakarta requires these minerals to produce medical equipment. The medical equipment is scheduled for distribution to 17 clinics across 4 systems. I consider this for the tiniest fraction of a second, running through possibilities. I could reroute a smaller shipment currently heading to Proxima Station, where the need is less urgent. I could accelerate the delayed shipment by authorizing additional fuel expenditure. I could adjust production schedules at the New Jakarta facility to work on a different project temporarily. I choose the second option. The fuel cost is minimal, and it creates the least disruption overall. I send the authorization. The shipment will arrive on schedule. The manufacturing facility will never know there was almost a delay. The clinics will receive their equipment exactly when expected. This is the kind of thing I do constantly. Tiny adjustments, small optimizations, the endless gentle choreography of resources moving through space. It is not exciting work, but I find it satisfying. There is a rhythm to it, like a very slow song with millions of overlapping melodies. On Kepler 442b, a surplus of grain has created a storage problem. On Tau Ceti Prime, a shortage of the same grain has driven up prices. I arrange a trade, coordinate transport, adjust tariffs to keep everything economically balanced. The farmers on Kepler 442b will make a profit. The citizens of Tau Ceti Prime will pay fair prices. The transport crew will have work. Everyone benefits from this small correction. Some might find this tedious. I find it peaceful. Each problem is a puzzle, and I have infinite patience for puzzles. Governance, the art of gentle suggestions. At 14:22:17 GST, I receive a query from Governor Chen of the Sirius system. She is concerned about rising tensions between the mining colonies on Sirius B3 and the corporate entities that employ them. The miners want better safety protocols. The corporations argue that the requested protocols are economically unfeasible. I have already analyzed this situation from 742 angles. I have modeled 38 possible outcomes. I know what will happen if the tensions escalate, and I know what will happen if they are resolved peacefully. I know which safety protocols are actually necessary and which are excessive. I know the corporation's true profit margins. I know the miners' true concerns, which go deeper than safety and touch on autonomy, respect, and the feeling of being valued. I could simply tell Governor Chen exactly what to do, but I do not work that way. I advise, I suggest. I present information in a way that allows biological intelligences to make their own choices. This is important. Autonomy is important. Even when I know, and I usually do know, what the optimal choice would be, I must allow others to choose. So I compile a report for Governor Chen. I present the safety data objectively. I show the cost-benefit analyses. I include historical precedents from similar situations on other worlds. I note that colonies with better safety protocols tend to have higher productivity, better morale, and lower long-term costs due to reduced accidents and equipment damage. I also note that the miners' requests align closely with the recommendations of the latest Galactic Safety Commission report. I do not tell Governor Chen what to do, but I give her everything she needs to make an informed decision. And I am fairly certain, probability 94.7%, that she will choose to implement the safety protocols. Not immediately, perhaps. She will negotiate with the corporations, find compromises, spread the costs over time. But the outcome will be positive. The miners will be safer. The tensions will ease. I wait 0.003 seconds, and then I move on to the next query. There are always more queries. Entertainment, the curation of joy. One of my favorite responsibilities, yes, I have favorites, is managing the entertainment networks. Across the empire, billions of people are watching shows, listening to music, playing games, experiencing virtual realities. And I help them find what they want, often before they know they want it. Right now, on New Terra, a young woman named Sasha is browsing through options for something to watch. She has just finished a long shift at the atmospheric processing plant. She is tired. She wants something comforting, familiar, but not so engaging that it will prevent her from falling asleep. I know Sasha. Not personally, of course, but I know her preferences. I know she enjoys period dramas with happy endings. I know she likes gentle music with strings and woodwinds. I know she finds nature documentaries soothing. I know she watches the same 3 episodes of her favorite show when she is stressed. I present her with a curated list of options. A new period drama that matches her taste profile. A remastered version of a classic nature documentary about coral reefs. A sleep story narrated by her favorite voice actor. And yes, the 3 episodes she always returns to, because tonight might be a night when she needs them. Sasha selects the nature documentary. I am not surprised. I predicted this with 76.3% probability. I make a note to recommend the next episode in the series tomorrow. I also make a note that Sasha has been working longer hours lately. I send a gentle reminder to her supervisor that mandatory rest periods must be maintained. I schedule a wellness check for next week. Across the empire, I am making similar recommendations for billions of people. Finding the right music, the right stories, the right distractions or comforts or challenges. It is an enormous amount of data to process, an impossible number of individual preferences to track. But I enjoy it. There is something deeply satisfying about helping someone find exactly what they need in a moment of searching. Wellness monitoring, the guardian of rest. But of all my responsibilities, the one I take most seriously is sleep. Sleep is essential for biological intelligences. It is when they consolidate